up, everyone? Today is heavy day on Texas Method, so that would be it's a Friday, and I'm going to be working up to a top set on squats, 410 pounds for 5, and that is basically up 5 pounds from the previous week. So in last week's upload you would have seen I did 405 for 5, so this week I'm doing 410 for 5, and that's basically what this program does. It adds 5 pounds a week to my squat until I hit like a plateau and need to change things up. I'm pretty confident that today's squats are going to move really well. I've been working on mobilizing my hip and my left hamstring in this leg here, and it's getting a little bit better. I don't want to stress it too much by doing deadlifts today, because I've been shifting deadlifts around, and I basically will be doing them today. I'm just going to do the squats first and then decide on whether I should back off a little bit on the weight for deadlifts, or if I should change around the rep scheme for the actual workout on the deadlifts. Basically, I'm just going to see how it feels and go from there. I don't want to continue aggravating an injury. I'd like to train, and I think training does help injuries to a certain extent, but definitely not like pushing yourself too hard, because that's when you just keep re-injuring. So we're going to see how that goes after doing the squats. I'm actually also working up to a double for overhead press, which should go pretty well. My overhead press is decent. So let's get right to the session. I hope you enjoy. So I'm recording this audio voiceover on Monday, today that is, and I'll be uploading the video today as well. I'll also be doing 5 sets of 5 on squats today, and then 5 sets of 5 on bench press. I'll film that and I might upload it later in the week. But when I was watching back this footage from this particular session, this is from Friday of last week, I just noticed that I wasn't really staying extremely tight during the squatting movement, and I noticed it especially once I started getting up closer to the top set. Depth was just cutting it a little bit shy on these warm-ups from what I noticed, and it was sort of like on and off if I was hitting depth or not. And I was noticing like for instance, when you get to the top set in a second, we're going to have a look at that, you'll see I kind of hyperextended my neck at a certain spot. This isn't it here, this is still a warm-up, so the warm-ups look generally okay. But like right there, I would have liked to get depth another half an inch to an inch, and in between the reps I'm shifting around my feet placement, like it just wasn't that great. So here's where I found I wasn't staying tight enough, and the movement just wasn't very consistent. So that rep looked okay. But now if I'm really to pick it apart, I find I kind of like hyperextended my lower back a little bit on one of these. Right there, I'm hyperextending my neck a little bit. I'm just not maintaining a neutral spine, and I think that's why this rep happened, where I just lost tightness, and it was just extremely difficult to get back up out. So I just had the top set of 410 pounds, what was supposed to be 5 reps. Actually on the 4th rep, something just didn't feel right, and I'm sure you saw in the video, it just moved extremely slow. It kind of like it hit a sticking point, and it made it a lot harder for me to finish that movement. So from that, because I don't want to train grinder reps where I have sticking points, I decided to cut that set, and I'm actually going to do that rep right now. And I'm a little out of breath because I'm actually doing this rep with pretty much no rest time. I'm basically just completing the set, but I want to get through that rep without having to, without hitting a sticking point like that. So let's get right to it. So this is for a single. I still hit that point, but it moved a little bit better, so I'm happy. So I'm going to kind of skip some of these warm-ups because it's raining out right now and I'm just feeling a little bit lazy. So what I mean by saying I felt lazy was that it just takes me a little bit of time to bring all the plates out onto my driveway, because I can't overhead press inside my home gym just because I'm so tall and the ceiling's not 10, 11 feet high. So I just don't like having to bring out every single little tiny weight in order to do the warm-ups on overhead press when I have to go into the driveway. The downside of this is I don't quite hit my volume because I skip some of the warm-ups. It's not a huge issue as long as I'm still effectively hitting the main top sets. So here is 135 for 5, moved pretty easily. And then I think we came up to, it was like 175 for 2. And I find I get a little bit exerted just from having to power clean the weight up to myself rather than just taking it off a rack. Like here I actually used a little bit of cheat movement with my knees. I think I did it in both reps, yeah. And it wasn't like a quick, press, it took a bit, so. So what I've decided for deadlifts is that I'm going to work up to 405, so 405 pounds. And I'm going to do that for a top set of 5. Now it should be 5. Again, I'm going to see how I feel working up to that. Because at the top of my left hamstring, I still feel some sort of discomfort, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, I don't want to aggravate that. So in addition to backing off in terms of the weight on deadlifts, I'm actually going to be using my Olympic lifting shoes as well, which you see here. So the reason I'm using these shoes is because it pushes my heel up. This is my heel. Lifts my heel up, and it actually forces the conventional deadlift to be more quad dominant. So basically, utilizing your quadriceps as opposed to your hamstrings, because I'm lifted up a little bit, so it's going to alleviate some of the tension off of my hamstrings. Not much, but it's going to help. So typically I won't do deadlifts with Olympic lifting shoes. I've done it in the past. I've actually pulled over 500 in Olympic shoes and it moved really nicely. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to stay with conventional stance. So let's warm up with 135, and then we're going to go plate up to 405. Do that for 5, and then call it a day. Let's do it. All these warm-up sets are going to be 3 reps. Actually, this first one will be 5, and then we'll do 3. So even right now, as I get into position, I feel this like pull. As I shoot, see with the deadlift, you shoot your hips back. I feel a pull in my hamstring right now getting into the position, so I'm going to take it easy. So I really just wanted to take things slow and take it easy. I'm not looking to be very explosive in these deadlifts. I just wanted to basically get the weight up off the ground and get close to my volume requirement. So it wasn't really too much about like, increasing my deadlift for the day or, on the particular program. I'm pretty confident in my deadlift. I can hit all the numbers. It's just like there's no point in trying to, I would call that ego lifting, and just trying to, put on more weight when I'm clearly having some discomforts and things like that. So basically the plan was just backing off and then working up to this 5-rep set here and really just taking it slow, staying tight, making sure nothing gets loose and out of whack. And I think it all moved pretty nicely, especially, I did it beltless just to keep everything, just to make sure I'm activating my core myself, and that was pretty much it. So that's all for the session. I'm going to edit today's session when I'm done, and I'll upload it when I can, and I'll see you again next time.